Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it? You already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Here's another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking smack at it. Baya, orale, baya, orale, baya. As you can tell by that thumbnail right there, yes, I done did that. Yeah, I've been sort of with a Hall of Famer, son. Yes, indeed. I wrote graffiti all over the bus. And in menudo style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the story because you guys like hearing stories. Well, ¿sabes qué? Why? Toma. Here's a story, a real one, real life, actual factual events that happened in my lifetime. Yes, my stories. I'm not speaking on anyone else's shit. I'm talking about mine. Me and mine's. All day, every day. This is how we get down, right? No disrespect intended for any of those involved. But at the same time, Holmes, I've been there, I've done that. So now it's time for me to do this and be here. Trip out. As you can tell by the thumbnail, that's the homeboy Bone, right? For those of you that don't know who the homeboy Bone is, and some of you guys are probably never going to meet him in your life, this is an old celly of mine. Probably the best celly I ever had, my favorite celly. And I got to give you the rundown. Now, I done did time out of state. That's facts, right? Doing a prison time out of state, man, is different. It's not like anywhere else in the world, right? It's not like California where the politics run all game and that's just the way it is and you have to stick, you know, according to the color lines and the racial lines and the fucking líneas or whatever. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be. And that's how we press forward. Now, in other states, it's different. You know, you're able to mix and mingle and fraternize and talk to whoever the fuck you want to talk to. There's different gangs from different areas, different cliques, just a lot of different things going on that I'm not really going to speak on because, again, that's their business. But at the same time, let's just say I was doing my tiempo as a norteño and functioning the way I function under California rules and regulations, yet in a different state. So I don't give a fuck. Burpee time. The burpees were real, right? So I remember doing time in the oil. And the way that this place worked is if you got in a mutual combat or unilateral assault, which was basically an aggressive ass assault, you would do no less than 6 months in the oil. Cancel Christmas. 6 months, 180, it was 180 days, period, plain and simple. You are doing 6 whole months. Signed, sealed, delivered, period. I see motherfucker, and I've done it myself. Do 6 months, turn around and do 6 more again. You know, they'll walk you right out the door and, hey, guess what? You got another write-up. What did I do? It isn't what you think you are, it's what you did. It's just, boom, snatch your ass back up, and now you're back in the Thunderdome. And the oil was just like any other hole that I've ever been to in any state. You know, you're just sitting down. You're sitting down, you're reading Louis L'Amour books, and you're saving your fucking comida in the morning until later on so you can stay full. It was the same old program. Burpees, roll up the mattress, and fucking wish you weren't there. And that's it. A lot of pacing, a lot of, oh, damn, I don't never want to come back. About 3 months later, you get in another fight. There you are, another 6 months. So anyways, I got done doing a 6-month bid in the oil because I was acting the Fulio, right? I thought my name was Don Julio. So I was getting my issue on. And of course, they put me in a building. Now, the way that this place works, when you get to a building, you don't get to sign up for fuck, hey, this is who I want as my celly. No, you go with whoever they put you with. Now, of course, they weren't going to sell up guys from the north and the south. They weren't going to sell up white guys and black guys unless that white guy was a black guy, basically, and the black guy was a white. You know, that's how they get down, but they're not going to just mix and mingle like that, just too much. But they would sell up a norteño or a northerner with the Africano brother, with the black, righteously. They did that, and this is a story about that, right? So I remember walking into the cell that day, and they were out on the yard. And so I get out the oil. I'm smelling like straight Sabaco, straight Savoya. It's been a long time since I even knew what deodorant looked like, right? So immediately I get to the cell, and the first thing I want to do is bird bath. So I'm looking around this cell, and it's a very clean cell. One of the cleanest cells I've ever seen in my life. That's very rare. You know, a lot of people, cleanliness is next to godliness, right? A lot of people like to keep their cells clean. They go as far as waxing the floors and doing all kinds of other shit. But this guy was in particular very, very clean, and he had feria. I could tell just looking around and being an aware type person, this vato had feria. He didn't have Lever 2000 or Irish Spring. This vato had Dove soap, right? So I'm looking at his pictures that he had hung up real nice. This vato had a stack of fucking photo albums this high. He definitely had his shit together. He had cajas upon caja of his legal work. He had his little TV in the corner, busted, right? He was doing his thing. A lot of comida. I was like, damn, that soap sure looks good. I hadn't had soap in a long time. I was like, damn, you know what I mean? I'm about to be a job thief right now. Fuck it. Anyway, so as I get into the cell, I'm looking around and I'm thinking bird bath, man. First thing I need to do, I smell like straight fucking, like gutter, right? Like, hey, the vato was doing bad, and I was that vato, right? So anyways, I immediately, you know what I mean, throw my towel up under the door so that way water doesn't get on the tira. Motherfuckers don't think I'm a poop butt and a new booty fish. So I definitely start getting to my motherfucking, getting my motherfucking playazo on. And I'm showering, taking my bird bath, and I'm smelling better as I fucking go. And of course, man, I got a little deodorant out of my bolsita because now I get my property back. So that shit just melted into my skin. Speed stick, gone. It's speedily, right? It was gone. It was like fucking putting fucking butter on hot coal, right? It just melted in. But anyways, I'm all right. I could deal with this. Just so I don't smell like motherfucking old man noodle, right? I'm good. And as I'm getting done showering, I throw my motherfucking boxes. I'm chilling in the cell. I'm still wondering who the fuck my cellie is because I see pictures and it's like a kid that's mixed, half white, half black. So I'm either settled with a white guy, that ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Sprinkle them in, brother. Right? Politics. Or I'm settled up with the black guy, and that might not work either, depending on how the fuck this dude is and he smells, right? So anyways, the vato walks in, clean cut, smooth, as you see by the thumbnails. My boy right there, man, one of my bestest friends forever, right? Vato walks in, he's like, hey, bro, what's up? Boom, they call me Bone, man. He's like, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I was like, well, hold on now, bro. This ain't Indianapolis. What are you doing out here? And he was like, I'm going to give you the full rundown, bro. It's all good. He's like, trip out, Holmes. My paperwork's right there on the table. I keep it handy, man. You know, just so you know, my paperwork's good, bro. I know you're a fucking norteño. I know you're a homeboy. I fuck with you guys. It's all good. You got 4 homeboys on the compa right here. I'll get at you in a minute. I'm going to go back out to the yard because he worked on a crew. So he was actually coming back from his holiday. He's like, I'm going to go back on the yard. He was on the yard crew or something. I'm going to go back on the yard. He's like, trip out, Holmes. Whatever I have is yours, bro. Ain't nothing to it. I was like, damn, this is different. Usually the sellers are like, don't touch my shit. That's it, right? This vault's like, whatever I have is yours. And he's like, hey, I got a whole bunch of Slam magazines, FHM magazines, which back in the days, the FHM bussin'. Those were the ones they had all behind us. He had a whole bunch of Jet magazines. Of course, he was an Africano, brother, right? So I was scared. I'm trying to look at the booty, too. So I was like, all right, cool. He's like, hey, whatever you want to look at, bro, whatever's on that shelf, hey, more power to you, homie. I'll be back. Do you need me to tell the homeboys anything? Any messages, anything? I said, tell them I'm out. I said, we're about to program. He's like, all right, cool. Bam, he jams. So of course I'm right there. You know, I'm not leaving the cell yet. You know, they haven't given me action to go out to the yarda yet. You have a 24-hour grace period until you can function on the yard. You have to basically stand yourself. That's just the way the state works. That's the way it was. It wasn't that I was trying to not make the movement, because I'd have been out in that motherfucker like wiggling, right? So anyways, I'm in my cell, and I see he has a whole bunch of magazines. So I said, damn, are those basketball magazines, Slam magazines? So of course I grab a Slam magazine. It's got Iverson on it. I'm looking at it, old school shit. All right, ordered it. Oh, go Kobe, right? And then, of course, I grab another one that's called Hall of Famers and Old School Players. So I'm looking through it, reading up on it. And he comes in. He's like, oh, what's up, bro? They call me Bone again. Boo Boo starts giving me his rundown. And he's like, trip out, bro. I'm reading the magazine. He goes, oh, you like basketball? I said, man, you know, it's just something to read, bro. I haven't had no magazine shit. I've been in the hole off that Louis L'Amour, you know what I mean? Off that Sidney Sheldon shit. He was like, yeah, go ahead, bro. And then all of a sudden he turns and he's like, oh, it's a trip. That's my dad right there. That's when I knew at that exact fucking moment, Holmes, I was sold out with a liar. You know, everything was going good up until that fucking exact point. It was at that exact moment right there I knew something was all bad. Right there, this motherfucker done hit me with, hey, bro. I said, here we go, right? Now here come the lies. I knew it had to be something. It smelled good in here. I could smell the incense burning. You know what I mean? The good seller, he was righteous. He was an Africano brother, man, but he kept it real respectful. He said he fucked with the norteño, so I was all for that, right? And everything was good, but then he has to go and tell a big old lie, right? He's like, yeah, that's my dad, Holmes. Now, for those of you that don't know, his dad is a Hall of Famer. Recently got inducted into the Hall of Fame in the last few years, so he wasn't a Hall of Famer at that time, but he is now, and his name was Big Richard McGinnis, who played for the Indiana Pacers, as well as the 76ers with Dr. J and all them cats. So he's like, yeah, that's my dad. I was like, yeah, I know. All right, whatever. Right? And he was like, no, for reals. Starts busting out his photo album, showing me pictures of his dad. And sure enough, that was his father. Facts, right? This guy ended up becoming one of my best sellies. And I'm going to tell you his story because he would allow me to, right? And his story goes like this. I said, well, how the fuck do you find yourself? I mean, I'm from California, bro, and I'm stuck out here too. I done moved out here to get me a little holiday, bro, and next thing you know, I'm locked up. They won't let me out. Now, what happened to you, bro? here's my paperwork too. So I said, okay, I don't do weird shit, right? He's like, yeah, no, I don't take you for that type of doing. Oh, well, still, look at it, read it. You know what I mean? Highlight it, whatever you got to do, Holmes. Just know that I'm a righteous motherfucker, bro. I just came out the oil for beating up a dude. What's happening? And he was like, all right, so trip out. And here's his story. It's a trippy story, but it's facts. He actually played for Indiana University. Okay, this was a whitewashed ass black dude right here. It was the gangster disciples, though. He was a folk. No doubt about it. He was with that gangster shit. But at the same time, he was a privileged black dude. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been around a privileged black guy, but they hit different, right? They're just a little bit different. These vatos, come from a privileged background. And like I said, that showed me right there, color doesn't mean shit, bro. It's all about how you grew up. He was part of the haves based on his dad played in the NBA for fucking 15 years. He wasn't a have-not, so he grew up around shmoney, right? He grew up around feria. He grew up around the bolsita. So he tells me he played for Indiana, for Bobby Knight for a while. And at the same time, bro, that didn't work out because the vato didn't grow too much taller than about 6 foot. And he just wasn't the greatest basketball player. Now, he was good at basketball. Don't get it twisted. But he wasn't the greatest. What he excelled at was soccer. Football. Go! Not guards. I said go, right? That's where he excelled at. So he started showing me pictures. This guy was actually the backup to the Dream Team back when they had Kobe Jones and Lala, I think his name was, and all them motherfuckers. He actually played on that team. He was very good at soccer. Well, what had happened was, he started to get into soccer very tough. His dad actually moved him from Indiana to Denver, Colorado, the Colorado Buffaloes. He was over there playing for one of the better soccer teams in the United States, college teams. Eventually, he got drafted and he went into the majors. Now, of course, when you're in the majors, you got to perform majorly, right? I don't know. I ain't never been an athlete. I don't know anything about that. I played football when I was little. We won the Super Bowl. I had an interception. I thought I was bad, right? But he played at the highest level, coming from that type of stock, that type of familia. I could understand. And I'm wondering, what'd you do? Did you kill your old lady? Or, why are you locked up? Because most of these athletes, bro, they're not just locked up on some poop butt shit. They're locked up for some major, major shit, right? So anyways, this Vato starts telling me a story. He's like, yeah, bro, so I actually played Major League Soccer. And what had happened was I got up on steroids. I said, oh, shit. He said, yeah, I got injured. I needed a quick recovery. I got involved in that. They actually found out. They tested me. I was dirty. So they demoted me to, which was the B League, right? So now he was playing Arena League soccer. And then from there, he ended up getting fucking demoted again. And they got moved. And every time that they would demote him, they would move him to different cities. He was a professional. So they moved him to a team called the Arizona Sand Sharks. That's where he played. It was like an arena poop butt league. Where he's got to work his way back into rotation. That's it. It's just the way it goes. So he's giving me the whole rundown. I'm like, yeah. What, how many Sureños are in this yard line? You know what I mean? I need to know what's going on there. But he's telling me his story. And I said, well, how'd you get caught up out here, bro? Out of all fucking places. And he says, well, what had happened was, right? That he actually got demoted again and was playing for another team. And he was going to a local gym, so he rented him a fucking condominium. He's chilling, doing his thing. He would go to this gym where he met a couple Africano brothers, a couple black brothers, man, that were in the game. They were Crips. They were in the game. Him being a gangster disciple, being from Indianapolis, Indiana, he didn't play the Crip or blood stuff, so he was cool with whoever. You know what I mean? But he liked to smoke that little weed. A little weed never hurt nobody, he said, right? So he starts to fuck with these dudes, and they're getting them fucking QPs and half P's and whatever. He's doing it all for personal use, man. He ain't out there slanging, allegedly. He ain't out there doing none of that. He don't need money like that. He's got money. His dad's got money. They got pockets on top of pockets, right? So he's living his best life. And what had happened was, I guess one of these Africanos gets caught up in a robbery, man, and tells the blocker, hey, trip out. How about if I set up this athlete, this fucking professional athlete who buys a whole bunch? And of course, they're like, yeah, get him. You know what I mean? So he had to huff and puff and blow the homeboy's whole house down. And they raided the homeboy's house. They find him with some fucking money and some weed. And of course, he's done. So he gets locked up on this case. I said, it wasn't a federal case. I was all fucking skeptical. So it ain't federal, huh? You know what I mean? Let me see that paperwork again. Right? No, it was a state case. So he ends up getting caught up. And he told me, it's no doubt about it, boy. I got lawyers that are giving lawyers piggyback rides. I'm going to beat this shit. I'm going to get back out because this motherfucker was smutting everyone up and just pointing fingers at anyone. So it was an unfortunate situation. We ended up becoming the best of cellies. This vato was treated like a superstar on this yarda. All the placas knew who his father was. All the placas knew who he was. Hey, I ain't even going to lie. We had it our way, gente. You know what I mean? If canteen came, we got our bags first. If packages came, slap that all on the floor. Slide that one time, immediately, right? Hey, I'll never forget, man, and I owe it to this Vato. This Vato made my time. We were selling for about a year. He made my time so much better because I remember this was back when that song, Back That Ass Up, Girl, who you playing with? Back That Ass Up. Juvenile was slapping. And I remember one time I was all bored in the day room like, man, fuck this shit. They had cell phones that were on the wall. And the homeboy was on the phone. He would call all day long. He'd be on the phone with his familia. You know what I mean? He had it like that. Me, I was a broke-ass Mexican dude, right? Didn't have shit. You know, but as long as I was in that cell, I was eating good in the hood. It was all good. But he was like, hey, bro, come here. He was like, call this number. So I was like, is it good? He was like, call it. So I called it, and it was literally his fucking prima's number. And he goes, hey, you want to go to the Cash Money concert? I was like, yeah, fuck, what is that, right? I ain't got no money. You know, he was like, no, don't trip. And so we got on the phone, and we're actually, I guess these girls, his wife and his prima, were actually in the skyboxes at Conseco Fieldhouse, which is in Indianapolis, Indiana, where he's from. And Cash Money was performing a concert, so we were actually at the Cash Money concert right there. Vatos are walking by, the homeboys are like, hey, bro, you're acting like a knack. Back that ass up. Girl, who's you playing with? Back that ass up. Girl, who's you playing with? I was, hey, I'm all in the motherfucking black, huh? You see me on the motherfucker with the Glock, huh? Right? I thought I was juvenile around that camp. But he was just a good dude like that. I remember he ended up going out to court to fight this case, to which he ultimately ended up beating the case. He was a good celly of mine. And one thing that I liked about him, he was the first Africano brother that I was ever celled up with. And I thought that might not have worked out just based on prejudices. Not that I'm a prejudiced person, but just not knowing, you know, the unknown. But it was nothing like that. Like I said, he was the best celly I ever had. It ended up becoming a very good friend of mine. Still a friend to this day. Congratulations to his dad, got inducted in the Hall of Fame. I had a great conversation with that man. That man said if I ever needed anything and I was down on my luck, I know where to slide through. Plan B, yes, sir. Bang, bang. And in that fashion, I'm going back to Indiana. Indiana, here I come. I'm going to be out there going Michael Jackson, only I ain't going to be doing weird shit like him, Holmes. I'm going to moonwalk my ass over there and give me a holler. Anyways, that's the type of individual he was, where his family blessed me, bro. I was getting fed, I put on my books. I was getting letters from his prima. She was a thick girl. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. Girl, back that ass up. Girl, who was you playing with? Back that ass. Anyways, he ended up being one of the coolest dudes. And I remember that he got into it one day. What happens is this Crip comes on the turn. This Crip is actually from the city of Fresno, right? And this Crip, when he comes, he's like, hey, I'm from Fresno. I said, hey, I'm from Merced. So we hit it off 209 shit, bro, right from the gate. Whoop-de-whoop. And he was cool. But this dude was a big old tall dude that liked to play basketball all the time. And my boy, like I said, he wasn't the best at basketball, but he was better than your average based on he played collegiately for a little while for Bobby Knight for the Indiana Hoosiers. Facts. Look it up. You don't believe me. His name was Richard McGinnis, right? Junior. So anyways, this Vato fucking, he's out there schooling this fucking brother. Double up, dunking and shit. And the Vato's getting frustrated, so they get into it. Now my boy Bone was stocky, fucking, kind of fucking swole at this time. He puts fucking all kinds of dick beaters on this guy. Hang. And this motherfucker, no, right? And I'm like, damn, that ain't how they get down in Fresno. Fresno don't act like that. Already, I thought you was some 6 Deuce Diamond Crip, cuz, right? No, Baru, that shit, that ain't the way it works. Anyways, that's the way it worked that day. And I remember after that, man, that's what led into me actually catching a case on that same guy behind the homeboy, because he already didn't like the homeboy. So then I've told the story before where he started woofing on me, and then so I was scared. And in that fashion, then I sat down for a whole bunch more years. The homeboy was out there, back that ass out. He was really at the concert, but he used to write me. And you know, most people will tell you, hey, I'll write you. I got love for you. It ain't none. And then they forget about you. Homes like you a poop butt, man. Like you never were there. This is not that type of individual, man. He stood solid as a fucking rock. Stood right at me, stood looking out for me. Feria y todo. Man, I'll forever be indebted to this guy, man. Just a good dude. But yes, in fact, I was set up with the dude whose dad was a Hall of Famer NBA player. This dude actually married John Cougar Mellencamp's daughter. Facts. Facts. You don't believe me? Google it, essay. Right? Facts. Like I said, we was in that motherfucking cell having it our way. The spreads that we ate, I can't even explain to you. Even the cop be like, hey, slide a burrito. That motherfuckers look good. We been in that motherfucker eating good in the hood. It was probably the best time of me ever being incarcerated. All the homeboys, we looked out for him. He was the only Africano brother that I've ever known that he sat at the table with the Norteños during chow. During the fucking, when we'd be out there in the yard, he'd post up with us. He was from out of state, so he was already looked at as off-brand. You know, a lot of the black dudes didn't really fuck with him because he wasn't a Crip or a Blood or affiliated with that. And in that state, they played that shit heavily. And he was down to rock and ride with whatever we had going on, man. And I'll never forget him. Anyways, that was just a little story I wanted to tell Saturday. You know, fuck it, man. A little story never hurt nobody. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a motherfucking purpose. I hope that you get every single thing that you want coming to you. Remember, go out there and get it, man. Ain't no one going to get it for you. You got to get it before you quit it. Orale. And be in tune tonight because you already know what I'm dropping. A bedtime story. Bang, bang. And in that fashion. If you like this, please hit that like and subscribe with a thumbs up. Come fuck with your boy. If not, thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears this Raiders crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I truly believe in, and that's the coming together of all people and giving you the best entertainment I can possibly give you on YouTube. Orale! Bang, bang. The gun.